What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Chukubu Ikem, and I am here to talk to you about how we're going to get ComfyUI installed on Mac. And why would you need ComfyUI installed on Mac? Well, first off, it's a much better AI image generation software than Automatic 1111 for Mac. It's a very robust and probably the best image generation software for Mac as of right now. You have way more control over the types of images that get created and allows for even more options when it comes to image generation, let alone stable video diffusion, which you can expect a video on very soon, plus so many other options for you that make it way better than just using Automatic 1111 or maybe MidJourney or whatever the case, and it'll be right here on your Mac. It's just a win-win, and although it can seem a little daunting at first, it's actually very simple to use, and in the long term way better to get to learn than even Automatic 1111 would be. So let's just hop right into this and get started. The setup is going to be very similar to what we did with Automatic 1111 for Mac with Stable Diffusion. You're going to need Homebrew and you're going to need Python. So first we need to download Homebrew. So we're going to go to brew.sh. Boom, now you're at Homebrew, and then what's going to happen is you're going to take this right here. You could just click this little copy button right here. You're going to take this copy button and you're going to head to your terminal. If you don't know how to head to your terminal, you can click F4 on your Mac and then you can type terminal, and then you'll get over there very quickly. And all you're going to do, you're just going to Command V, this bad boy, you're going to paste it right into here. Now, I already have Homebrew, so it's pretty much just going to stay installed, but you're just going to run it, and then you're going to say checking for sudo access, So you're going to put in your laptop's password. It says this script will install, and then you press enter. That's perfectly fine. Now, like I said, I already have it, so it's going to just update everything pretty much. Installation was successful, and all it did was update 2 tabs. But for you, it would be a whole thing. Like, it would be like, and then if you want to make sure that you have Homebrew, you would just type brew doctor after. You type in brew doctor, and then it'll let you know if you have Homebrew. So he says your system is ready to brew. So that's cool that even they have a nice sense of humor, because brewing a beer, a brew, you get it. Now that we've installed Brew, it's time to install Python. Now, you could install Python alone. That would be perfectly fine, and you would be able to get ComfyUI up and running with the next steps that we provide. But I want to give you guys a little bit extra, because you may also in the long run want Automatic 1111. So what I'm actually going to recommend to you guys is that you come over to this website right here. The link will be in the description below. And what you're going to do brew install CMake, protobuf, Rust, and Python. See, this Python is 3.10. You could always do 3.11. That's the newest Python. That's the newest stable Python version. And then brew install git and brew install wget. Now, these are all things that actually will give you the ability to run Automatic 1111 rather than just installing Python and then all you can do is ComfyUI. So I'm definitely trying to give you a little bit more than what you would normally get. But if this is a little bit overkill, you could just get rid of everything here and just do brew install Python at 3.10 or 3.11, or you could just leave the 3s alone and just brew install Python, and you would get Python, and you could still continue on with this tutorial. But I definitely do recommend that you take this whole thing right here. So I'm going to take this whole thing, and just to show you what I mean when I say that you can always just get rid of the rest, right? If you want, you could literally just do brew install Python. If you run this, that'll be perfectly fine. In fact, I'll do it really quickly. If we do brew install Python, see, I already have Python, so it's going to say Python 3.11, more specifically 3.11.61 is already installed and up to date. So I don't need to install anything. It's asking me if I would want to reinstall. I don't need to do that. But you could run that and you'd be good to go. But me, I'm going to run the whole thing just to show you guys again. Brew install CMake, protobuf, and everything else, because again, just Python will work for ComfyUI. But if you install everything else, you'll also be able to use Automatic 1111 if you ever decide to have that. So I always like to say better to have and not need than to need and not have. So we're going to run this again. Brew install CMake, protobuf, everything. And again, I already have everything, so it's just going to be, reinstall. But you guys would get like this long list of stuff. That's what you guys would get. And then you'd be good to go. So now that you've installed Python along with other things, now it's time to install Pytorch. And Pytorch, well, look at it right here. Pytorch is a fully featured framework for building deep learning models. Basically meaning that this is what helps create ChatGPT, Stable Diffusion, MidJourney, Claude, Bing AI, all these different AIs that we're getting more and more used to seeing on a daily basis. It's built a lot by using Pytorch, and so we need Pytorch on our Mac in order to get ComfyUI up and running. Now, in order to get Pytorch, you're going to come here to pytorch.org/get-started/locally. You're going to come over here and you're going to click preview nightly. That's the type of Pytorch that we need that's going to run on Mac. So now we have preview nightly. Again, the OS is Mac, the package is pip, the language will be Python, and the compute platform will be default. I mean, it's pretty much already selected for you. The only thing that you got to change is nightly. And then once you have this, you're going to make sure that you're going to take this, right? You're going to take this code right here, copy it however you'd like, and you're going to come into this terminal after you've run everything, and you're going to put Pytorch just like that, and it's going to run, okay? Now, again, I have it already. I don't know. There's gonna be a theme in this video. I already have that. So it says already installed, already satisfied. You guys would get something different. You guys would get like a whole bunch of loading things and everything like that. But with me, I'm getting already satisfied. So now we have Brew, Python, and Pytorch. So we're just about ready to get the ball rolling. Now that we have everything that we need, we're going to install ComfyUI onto our MacBook. And unlike trying to install ComfyUI on a Windows where you have to git clone ComfyUI onto your Windows and then use a 7-zip extractor to get it out and do all this stuff, with Mac, it's actually really simple. What you're going to do, you're just going to copy this git clone right here, and you're going to pretty much CD into whichever directory that you want to be in. So right now, by default in my terminal, I'm in the root of my Mac. So you can see that, you could tell that by this little sign right here, this little like curvy sign. I forgot what that's called. But if you want to know where you are in your Mac, all you do is type pwd, and it'll show you. I'm in the users/chukubika directory, right? But what's in that directory? All you would do is type ls, and it will list everything that's in that directory. Now, me personally, I'm going to clone ComfyUI onto my desktop. You can do it into your downloads, you could do it into your documents folder, you could do whatever you'd like, but I personally love to put things on my desktop because it's just easy access, quick access. So I'm going to now move into that directory by typing in cd and then desktop. Boom, now I'm in desktop. And again, you can always check by doing pwd, and it says it right there, users, chukubika desktop. So now we're going to git clone ComfyUI onto our desktop, and all you have to do is Command V. Now, if you want to make it more sturdy, people would probably git clone ComfyUI into another folder, because sometimes you may want like all your AI stuff in one folder, like let's say Automatic 11, ComfyUI, all within an AI image generation folder. But for now, I'm going to keep it simple and just clone it right there onto my desktop. So now that we have it in our terminal, we're in our desktop, we're going to say git clone, we're going to press enter, and it's going to start cloning in. And it's pretty quick, and you could tell that it's there now because you'll see ComfyUI right here. Now that we have ComfyUI installed, we're going to need to run one more command. But before we do that, I do want to show you guys what the ComfyUI would look like. So again, if you open the ComfyUI folder, you're going to see all these things, and this might look a little daunting at first, but they all mean something, and it's not that hard. I'll teach you guys and we'll walk through it. But before we go through all this, there is one command that needs to be run, and I'm not going to lie, I actually had a hard time once I got to this part of the installation process, and I would have to shout out AI Animation. They really helped me with a lot of this stuff right here. AI Animation, great YouTube channel, talks about all types of AI stuff, and they actually they actually pretty much solved the issue here. There wasn't a lot of info about how to get past this part, or at least get past this part correctly, and these guys really helped me figure that out. So this video probably wouldn't even be possible as soon as it's being made if not for AI Animation. So definitely go show them some love. I gotta really appreciate them. But now, because of them, we have the next step, and we're going to get even deeper. Like I said, now we have ComfyUI here on our desktop. So now we need to CD into desktop. So we're going to CD into desktop. Great. We've CD'd into desktop, and what's funny is that as we're moving through each folder path, you'll see this top part change. It'll change into wherever you are. So that's a good way of knowing where you are, along with the pwd command. So now we're going to cd into ComfyUI. You don't have to worry about capitalization or anything. It'll automatically just go straight into that one. So cd into ComfyUI. But again, if you never know, it says it right here, ComfyUI, and you see how it didn't have to worry about capitalization, capital C, capital UI, It's the same exact thing there. And again, if you ever want to know where you are, PWD, and you'll find it right there. And one more tip and trick, if you type in CD dash, it'll take you back into the previous directory. So now I'm back in the desktop directory, and you can see that at the top right here, reflecting that change. But we're going to go back into ComfyUI, and we have to run this command: pip3 install -r requirements.txt. Now, what does this command do? Well, if you go back into this ComfyUI folder, you'll actually see it right here, requirements.txt. And if you open that up, it'll show you what is actually needed to run ComfyUI. And basically, all that is going to do is that once you run that command, it's going to run that script to get what's needed for ComfyUI. So again, we're just going to X out of that, and we're going to run the command. Simple as that. So you see, now again, like I said, I've run this all before, so you're going to, I'm getting requirement already satisfied, but because it's already on my Mac, but you guys would get like long loading things and everything like that. But it's still not that long. It usually takes about a minute or two. So now we have ComfyUI on our laptop, Mac, whatever, and let's run it. While still being in this directory, you're going to type in python 3 main.py, okay? Now, that's just activating this file right here that actually runs ComfyUI. So once you press enter on this command, it's going to activate ComfyUI. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to activate ComfyUI. And once ComfyUI is activated, you're going to take this HTTP address right here. You're going to copy that bad boy. You're going to paste that bad boy right here. And boom, you have ComfyUI ready to go. Oh, actually not really. You don't have ComfyUI ready to go because you actually don't have any models to use. So look, if you click right here, you need to load a checkpoint, a model, a safe tensor. You need this in order for it to work. And as you can see right now, it says undefined. So if I try to queue a prompt, it will not work. It'll actually give me prompt outputs failed, validation. So we need to go get a model. Now, when it comes to models, different models will actually require different levels of VRAM. So I'm actually going to get like a nice chill model so that we can run this very fast and very effectively. So the model we're going to download for this one is a very chill, very usable Stable Diffusion V15 model. Obviously, there are much better models, but it's just a nice stable model that typically does not give a hard time, and it's still very fast to use across all systems. And we're going to download the V15 pruned email only safe tensors. Be very wary about downloading models with checkpoints. Checkpoints are pretty much safe tensors. They're pretty much the same thing. It's just that checkpoints can carry malicious viruses. It can carry malware, and you really do not want that. So you want to take the safe tensors route normally. And yeah, you would just take that and you're going to download it. It'll take some time, a couple of minutes, and once it's downloaded, I'll show you what to do next. Awesome. So now that it's downloaded, what's going to happen is that we're going to open two Finder windows, or you can open one. I mean, you can kind of do it however you want, but here we have the downloads folder, right? You're going to navigate to where the downloads folder is on one of them, and you can see where we have it, V15 pruned email only safe tensors, right? Now, I need you to navigate to your ComfyUI folder. And then in that folder, you're going to get into the models folder. And in that model folder, you're going to get into the checkpoints folder. And right here, you're going to say put checkpoints here. Now, again, just to clear up any confusion, a checkpoint and a model and a safe tensor are all the same. They're just templates that Stable Diffusion uses to base the images that you're generating off of. It can get much deeper than that, but that's basically what it is. And you're just going to move this into that. There you have it. So now we have it in our checkpoints. Okay, great. Now you're going to come back to where ComfyUI is. Now you're going to need to refresh this. So this is literally a web page. So you could literally, Command R and refresh it, or you could click refresh here. Perfectly fine. Either way that you want to do it. And now you'll see that V15 pruned email only safe tensors is in there. So now we finally have a model. And we have our prompt, beautiful scenery, nature, glass, bottle, landscape, purple galaxy bottle. And then we have our negative prompt, which is text watermark. Now, just to show you a little bit of how this works, well, actually, before I get into how this works, let's actually run the prompt. Now that we've run the prompt, a few things that you can know is that if you can always just grab the screen and move it around. on your MacBook using your trackpad, you just, scroll up and down to zoom up and down. ComfyUI is typically much faster than if you were to use automatic 1111, but still know that Mac in general, when it comes to Stable Diffusion, is a lot slower than a good PC. So there's still a ways to go when it comes to Stable Diffusion on Mac, but using ComfyUI will on average be a lot faster than trying automatic 1111. And look, wow, look at that. Look at what we got. Look, we got this nice little thing, and boom, now you've generated your first ever image. So this is really great. You don't have to scroll in like that. You can also click on this and then extend the image like so. Now we have our first ever image, but there's a few things that you need to know about ComfyUI. So this is going to turn into a little bit of a crash course. So first and foremost, this is where you load in your checkpoint and your model. From your checkpoint and your model, you have to connect it to a prompt. A positive prompt and a negative prompt, and you connect it using these noodles. So all you have to do is take this little dot, you would click it, and then you would connect it to here or connect it to there and stuff like that. And that's basically what happens with the clip. The clip connects to the positive and the negative prompt, and then the positive and the negative prompt, they connect. Well, technically speaking, neither of these prompts are actually positive or negative. They're not determined until these prompts are connected to the positive and negative sources in this sampler. So you take this and it would connect to negative, and you would take that and connect to positive. So you can actually literally see this. I can actually disconnect it. So you see I just disconnected it. So now, again, they're just prompts. They don't mean anything until you finally connect it to a positive or negative. And you can connect the bottom to positive or the bottom to negative. It doesn't really matter. Just obviously for organizational purposes, negative is on the bottom, positive is on top. Then you have the model. Now the model portion of this connects to the sampler itself. And the sampler is what runs your image generation. The sampler is what kind of creates the code and the process that creates the image that we're seeing over here, right? That's what the sampler does, and it has a lot of different settings to it that we need not go into right now, but the sampler has a lot of different settings, and the more that you adjust these settings, the more that you get. And then you also have this latent image, and all this does is determine the size of the image. So if I change this from 10 to 1080, 1080 by 1080, you would get a much bigger picture, of course, but we're not going to do that either right now. And then this connects to the decode, and the decode is what takes all the information and packages it nicely to create the image and place it right here. So that's kind of what this whole process is, and it's a set of noodles, and all these are called nodes, by the way. So they're different nodes. This is a checkpoint node, a prompt node, a sampler node, but they're all nodes, just for you to know. And ComfyUI can get way more swifty, but in order for it to get more swifty, you're going to need one more thing, which is the ComfyUI manager that helps organize this whole stuff and add much more to this and make this a much more robust program than what we're seeing right now. So let's get into that. So you're going to come over to this link, and again, everything in the video will be linked down below. The way that we're going to do it, there's a couple ways to do it, but I like this way the most because, again, when you learn the terminal, it's even better. What happened is that you're going to CD into custom nodes. So we're going to actually show you another nice way to do this. See, custom nodes. Let me show you where custom nodes is. Custom nodes is just another folder in your ComfyUI directory. So you got to get into custom nodes, right? Now the thing is that in order to get into custom nodes, yes, you could do the CD into CD into CD to get there. But what you could do also is that you can go to this terminal, right? Now, what we're going to do actually, we're going to open up a new terminal window. Just open up a new window, and what's going to happen now, you could actually close the ComfyUI if you want, but I'm just going to leave it running, and we're going to open up a new window. And what's going to happen is that we're going to type CD. So we're going to change directory. That's what CD stands for, change directory. And you're going to drag custom nodes in here, and it's actually going to copy the path file. So rather the path name, and then you just click enter. And now you have CD'd into custom nodes. And again, you can see it right here. Custom nodes is right here. And you're just going to go back to the link, and you're going to take this whole thing, git clone. You're going to get this whole thing, git clone HTTP, GitHub, And then now that you're in here, you're going to git clone it into custom nodes, that folder. and you see it's going to clone ComfyUI into it. So remember, we still have ComfyUI running. So now that we've cloned the ComfyUI manager into ComfyUI, you are going to need to stop the ComfyUI software from running and then restart it. So in order to do that, all you got to do is just X out the terminal that is running in. Pretty simple. You just exit out, and that will terminate ComfyUI. Like as you can see right here, you'll see that it now turns into reconnecting because the terminal is no longer running. So we just got to make our way back into the ComfyUI folder. So you can use this same method, cd into ComfyUI, like I just did. I dragged and dropped it over there. And then we're going to do Python 3 main.py again. And it's going to start running everything up just like normal. And you're going to take that link, and you can actually highlight this, then double click it, and then open link. And it'll just open default into the same thing. And then boom, now you're going to see something different. You're going to see manager. And now we're cooking with oil, because check this out. Now that you have the ComfyUI manager, there's going to be a lot of things that you can do. So first off, you can install models. So you can see how we were taking models before. We had to go to Hugging Face or Civet AI in order to get models. You don't need to do that anymore, at least for some models and some nodes and some upscalers and things of that nature. You can literally just download them into ComfyUI and use them from there. So for example, right, let's close this for a second. As you can see, let's close this. As you can see, we only have one model to use, V15 pruned. Okay, great. When you go into manager and you click install models, right, there are different types here. There's upscale models, that's for making the face better. There's face restore models that help to rebuild the face if the AI gets it wrong, and so on and so forth. And then there are checkpoints. This one is for stable diffusion video models, which we will get into on another video. But then there are some regular ones like checkpoints that you can use, like SDXL Turbo. There's also ControlNet. There's a lot of things that you can do here. But for now, we're actually going to keep it very, very simple. We're going to download just another version of a model. So check this out. All you would have to do, let's see, SDXL Turbo. We would install that. And if you want to learn how to use SDXL Turbo, which allows for real-time image generation, you can actually go check out this video here where I talk about it and set it up with you. So it's pretty big stuff. And by the way, if you're liking the video so far and I've been able to help you, please remember to like and subscribe. It takes this channel to a whole nother level, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. So now you can see that it's installing SDXL Turbo 1. It'll take some time, but once it's installed, it'll just say installed, and then we can move forward, and you'll see it right there in the model checkpoint. And boom, now it's installed. To apply the installed model, please click the refresh button on the main menu. So we're just going to click close. Then we're going to, again, close this. We're going to click refresh. Now that it's been refreshed, if you click on this, you see SDXL Turbo, and we could change it. But we're not going to use that right now. We're going to stick with the V15 save tensors. So that's how you're now able to install models into your system. Another cool thing that you could do when it comes to ComfyUI, you could bring images that were created in ComfyUI into your own ComfyUI, and it will literally show the workflow that made that. So I'm going to show you right now with one of the images that I made a while back ago. So here I have an attractive black woman that I had made, and so if I drag and drop this into the UI, you see that it just changed the whole workflow. You can literally see what I did to create the black woman. You'll see that it used what I created to make the prompt. You'll see that it had dream shapers, which I don't have right now. This is a different ComfyUI. You see that I also had used an upscaler and I used a couple upscalers and stuff. Now, if I cue the prompt, it won't work because look, see, prompt outputs validation. You know, the checkpoint loader, it doesn't have that checkpoint, and so on and so forth. So as a result, it can't use it. I'll need to download these things. Now, the beautiful thing is that it shows you what you need to download. So I would just need to get the Dream Shaper, save tensors, and it says value not in list, model name 4x animation.path. So I will need to get this as well. And then, you know, once you're able to get those, you would be able to move forward. So that's the beauty of it. You can bring an image that was made in ComfyUI into your own ComfyUI so that you can see the workflow that was used to create that same exact image and try to replicate it yourself, which is very powerful when you're trying to have as much control as possible over the images that you're trying to create. Another thing about the ComfyUI manager is that whenever you want to update ComfyUI itself, you can literally just say update ComfyUI or update all, meaning that you would update the nodes, the models, everything, which in also help you out a lot. You can also install missing custom nodes, basically meaning that whenever you do take someone's workflow and it has all types of nodes that you don't have, you can install it doing that way. And if you already have automatic 1111, here's a nice cool tip that you could use. Instead of re-downloading every model from Hugging Face or Civet AI, if you already have a folder where you keep all of your models, you can redirect the path of ComfyUI that looks for models to another folder. And this is how you would do it. You see how in ComfyUI there's this thing called extra model underscore paths.yaml.example. What you're going to do is that you're going to rename this file, rename it, and you're just going to get rid of the example part. So get rid of example, press enter, and then it says use.yaml. Now that you've renamed it, you're going to need to open this up in a text editor. Now, I don't know what your default text editor is, but for many of us, we could really just use text edit that comes with Mac. If not text edit, maybe notes or whatever. But, you know, and there's all the types of text editors. You can use brackets, Visual Studio Code. You can see I even have Xcode by default, but we're just going to use text edit for now. And what happens is if you already have automatic 1111, you can actually set the path to wherever you're keeping your models in that folder. So let me show you what I mean by that. As you can see, where I keep my automatic 1111 is in my home directory, and then you would go to stable diffusion-web UI, then you would scroll down and I would go to models, and then boom, I would go to stable diffusion, and here are all my models, right? But you're not going to actually give it that whole path. What you're going to do, you're just going to come to where you have stable diffusion-web UI, and you're going to right click on this, and then you're going to hold down option, and then you're going to see copy stable-diffusion web UI as path name, and you're going to click that. Okay, then you're going to come over here where it says base path. You're going to remove this, and you're going to copy the path that's there. Great. Then you're going to save, file save. Boom, now the extra models path is saved. Now that you've changed the path, you will have to restart ComfyUI. So again, you're just gonna come over here. You're gonna X out this bad boy. Pretty simple stuff. Then you're gonna open up another terminal. You're gonna CD your way into that folder, but you can literally just drag this folder into there. And then boom, now you've CD'd your way in. And you're going to do Python 3 main.py. And it's going to start it up again like normal. You're going to head over to that link, open link, and now when you look it up, boom, you see all the models that I already had in my automatic 1111 can now be used here. So let's try out Dream Shaper, right? This is where we had the Dream Shaper. Remember, we didn't have the Dream Shaper before. So now that we have the Dream Shaper, now the only thing that we don't have is this upscale model, but we could just delete those for a little bit right now. Let's delete those, and we're just going to put the image here, and let's see what Dream Shapers gives us. And the beautiful thing is that while you're waiting on this, if you look in the terminal, you can actually see the percentage. You can also see it here about what's loading up. You know, the green bar is also showing you what's loading up, but if you want to see a more specific version, it says 65%, 70% in the terminal itself. So that's always cool to know, to see how long it's taking for you. And then it's going to go into the decoder. And again, you know, it's loading one new model and everything. And in a few seconds, we should have it. Ooh, not bad. Definitely leave a like. Definitely subscribe. Your boy Chuckavelli just made his wife. Like, this is not bad. This is not bad. Now, of course, you could always take this to another level, right? Add some upscalers, add some different, you know, features that you would want with this. But here we have it. Here we have it. This is what ComfyUI is able to create, and it's in our control, and that's the beauty. And it wasn't that hard, now was it? Now again, if you have a M2 or an M3 MacBook, the generation will be a little faster, especially if you have like an M3 Max and things like that. The generation will be faster. But this is ComfyUI in a nutshell. There are definitely some ComfyUI resources that you can use. You see ComfyUI examples. It shows you, like, you know, image to image, what that would look like and how you would go through it. Hyper networks, all that types of stuff. It's pretty impressive stuff. There's also the GitHub. The GitHub also shows you a lot of what you can do here. And also Reddit, as you can see here, a few examples of my ComfyUI. Look at them. Look at this. And you know, Reddit is always a budding community for anyone who's trying to learn anything, right? We already know this. So you have Reddit. There's definitely a lot of things that you can look at. that. But yeah, you know, there's a lot going on here. You look, a beginner's guide to ComfyUI. I personally like this website a lot, StableDiffusion-art.com. A link will be in the description. Really good website. It kind of gets you up to date and kind of gets the ball rolling for a lot of AI image generation. Oh, and you know what? Here's also the settings. Shows you a lot of different settings. I personally, you don't really need to mess around too much with these settings, but there's definitely a lot of things in the settings that you could look over. Like, it does show you different colors that you could use. So if you use Solarize and things like that, or Nord, you know, there's definitely different colors. Me personally, I just use dark by default. And there's definitely other things here. You can always play around with this stuff, but for the most part, not much that's really going to change anything. And there's definitely other stuff here, but that is the bulk of ComfyUI for Mac. I genuinely appreciate you guys for watching. Please stay tuned for more videos about ComfyUI, SDXL, Stable Diffusion, AI in general. If you really appreciate it, remember to like and subscribe. I will appreciate that in return. And please have a great day. Chukubuikam, Jagavelli, out.